So now I got a much tougher question for you now. This one revolves around a player that I've had marked as a sell for the entire offseason, basically, as far as I can recall. He is a very popular quarterback. This is a quarterback. So we're going completely out of your element to your other element, the quarterbacking room. And this gentleman is a perennial 23 points per game player, if I recall correctly. But he has been, I would consider it kind of fluky 23 points per game. Or is he 22? 23 points per game player throughout his career. 22.9, 23.3 is his first 2 seasons. He's a third-year player. His name is other than Justin Herbert. He's wildly talented, but I've been marking him as a sell for like the whole offseason, or at least half the offseason. I don't remember when I moved him to a sell. It's been a while. Are you buying or selling Justin Herbert? I believe he's currently valued on Fantasy Calc at QB3.
I think this is a much simpler conversation than some people would make it out to be, at least for me, because there is like a foundational asset tier of quarterbacks. Where
Hold on. I lied to you. He's QB6. Are you buying or selling at QB6?
It doesn't really matter whether it's the 4, the 3, the 6, whatever. He's in that tier with basically there's only a certain amount of people I would trade him for. Like if you can flip Justin Herbert for Jalen Hurts in a 2 or a 2-3 swap, Lamar Jackson in 2-3 swap, Kyler Murray, or like a 1-2 swap. You can go after like a really hated on guy like Kyler Murray in a 1-2 swap, like maybe Deshaun Watson for someone who's making a playoff push, like in a 1-2 swap. Justin Fields, like if you want to buy into that, like you're fully bought in, which I think we pretty much should be at this point. If you want to go to Fields in a 1-2 swap, maybe Dak Prescott in like a 1 or a 1 and a 2. You can probably even get more. Yeah. But you don't sell foundational quarterbacks, and I wouldn't even include Tua and Lawrence in that conversation. Like, I don't really want to sell Herbert for either of those guys. But like, unless I'm getting one of these QBs, it's just no. You're not selling. You're not selling Justin Herbert for anything that's not another elite foundational quarterback in a convincing plus. But I do think he's valued at the top of that tier. I think the same goes for Josh Allen. Like if I can sell Josh Allen for Lamar in a 1-2 swap even in 2024, like I'll take Lamar in that 1. I think even Mahomes, like you could get a lot pivoting, but I would try to probably not pivot from like Mahomes to Fields or Dak, probably keep it in like the Kyler, Lamar, Hurts. But I think when you can flip one of those for another and get like a convincing plus, you're still building a team around Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes or Kyler Murray versus Justin Herbert.
So here's my question for you. Well, this isn't really a question so much as so I do rankings that aren't actually rankings, right? Like I do clusters. So I take the players that I expect to perform at a certain level and I cluster them all together. And would it shock you to know that I do not have Justin Herbert in tier 1 of quarterbacks in terms of projectable fantasy points?
Yeah, it would shock me.
Here's who's in that tier. It's Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson. Notably not in that tier is Justin Herbert. You think that's a mistake?
You're going to make me look up my own tweets.
You think that's a mistake?
I know it's a mistake because you're just upset that Justin Herbert has had Keenan Allen injured, Mike Williams injured, Gerald Everett even injured, like everybody injured. You put a couple more legitimate weapons around this guy, he's going to be right back to where he was. And this might seem like a random deadline, but this is just, I remember tweeting it, and it was at the time. This was through 29 career starts when Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert were razor thin through 29 career starts. Patrick Mahomes, 681 fantasy points. Justin Herbert, 672 fantasy points. 29 starts. That's a big sample of Justin Herbert starting his career like a just phenom on the level of Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and then all of a sudden, well, he's dealt with a shit ton of injuries. He doesn't have great support this year. If I can sell Josh Allen for Justin Herbert plus, for someone who doesn't believe they're in the same tier, I would be doing that. Justin Herbert and 2. I'll take a 2023 2 to go from Allen to Herbert. I'm not that concerned at all about Justin Herbert in any way, shape, or form.
You know, I think I may have misled you slightly because I feel like you're focusing in on his passing work, which is fair. The concern for me with Justin Herbert is that he doesn't run the ball. He only averages 11 yards a game rushing. Even Patrick Mahomes has 24, 25 yards a game rushing. It's an extra point and a half. That's the difference between the elite quarterbacks and the merely exceptionally good ones. It's all about the rushing production, and Justin Herbert just doesn't do it. I'm sorry. Luckily, though, in the prior 2 years when Justin Herbert was lighting the world on fire at a Patrick Mahomes-esque level, they were passing the ball at the rate of pretty much the highest rate of anyone. He was averaging like almost 40 attempts per game for his first 2 years. I would bet, and this was my argument coming into the season, at some point that volume is going to get scaled back, and he doesn't have the rushing production to offset the lack of offensive volume. And I'm sorry that I'm not sorry. But Keenan Allen is really good, and he's been missing. Mike Williams is like a pretty good wide receiver too, and he's been missing. And instead of throwing it down the field to those guys, he's been checking down to Austin Eckler, which is fine, but it's not the same thing. So he's underperforming right now, but I don't think he's in the same category.
But he has the skills, and we're also going on a timeline, right? Like you're saying Patrick Mahomes is running for 23 points per game. Patrick Mahomes' first 3 seasons, 10 yards, 17, 15 per game. Then he got to 20, 22. Now he's at 23. Justin Herbert is by all means, when you watch the film, a much more capable rusher than Patrick Mahomes. He showed it as a rookie. Let's look at the yards per game. It was much higher than it was this year. Let's see. He was at 15 yards per game, 17 yards per game his first 2 years. Those are both higher than Mahomes' first 2 years. This year obviously took a dip. There haven't been any weapons really. Like he just hasn't had help.
He's hurt too.
You could argue should be more. Yeah, he did have an injury as well. So I think Justin Herbert's rushing, that's not the point I would use against him, especially if we're going to say, oh, Patrick Mahomes is the better rusher. I don't know that next year Patrick Mahomes is going to have better rushing statistics than Justin Herbert. In fact, I would bet against it.
There's not so much Mahomes is a better rusher than Herbert. Mahomes is a freak alien quarterback, and Herbert is merely probably like the number 2 quarterback. And there's a gap there that he doesn't make up for somewhere else. All the other guys rush the football. They're all going to score 22 points a game. Justin Herbert's probably going to be lucky to score 22 points per game.
What is that like? What does that actually equate to in like actionable moves? Like if you're a contender and you're loaded and you got a bunch of extra 2s and you want to pay Herbert plus 2 for Mahomes, sure, I get it. But most of the time, if I'm not a loaded team, I'll probably just keep Herbert in my 2. Like I'm not.
Well, I wouldn't go buy Mahomes. Mahomes isn't a buy. He's valued at like the top of the world.
Well, then what are you doing with him? Who are you selling him for?
I'm going to get
other guys. Kyler. Yeah, I think we agree. Kyler Murray's undervalued. He's a clear from any of these quarterbacks at the top. Like you could sell Josh Allen for Kyler Murray in a 1. I would say.
Yeah, that's the kind of move I'd be looking at. Kyler Murray is still scoring 20.7 points per game, which is more than Justin Herbert, and has been atrocious. Like really bad, and is still like scoring 20 points per game. It's wild.
Well, I agree on that front that I would be selling Herbert for Kyler plus.
Thank God we finally convinced you that Justin Herbert is a sell. I'm so happy. He's not going to score 23 points per game on consistent basis, but he'll probably get 20 to 22.
You can tell I don't listen to podcasts a lot because I probably would have like picked up on like the fact because I now see that you do that trolling a lot. At first I didn't get it. I'm like, if I had listened to probably 1 or 2 episodes, I don't listen to podcasts. Like I don't even like listen to my own. Like
it's probably just a me thing. I don't know that a lot.
I'm not a podcast listener. I don't know what it is.